So this project was actually done, and then I decided to make it a whip again. Good day everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mariette, also known as the Boervrou, and this is episode 17 of the Crafty Stitches Podcast. Today is the 7th of August 2022, and I'm coming to you from South Africa. I brought some coffee, and I hope that you have a lovely drink to enjoy with visiting with me here in the podcast, and I will be sipping on my coffee. Thank you so much. If you're a returning viewer, if you are new here, welcome, and I hope that you will enjoy this content. So I'm actually filming in the afternoon, late afternoon, on a Sunday evening. So let's just jump right into this episode. I have 2 finished objects and quite a few whips. So let's get straight into it. My first finished object is the lace that I have been making for my pantry shelves. So this is the 3rd piece of the lace. Where was I at the previous recording? To have a thingy here, the stitch marker that I use as a progress keeper from Ietsie Klein. So I will just take that out because this is now done. And as you can see, I have finished the 3rd piece of lace. I brought the other 2 with me. So I have now 3 completed pieces of the lace. I'm going to make 6 pieces. And I have started on a new cone that is a lighter color than this, but I'll show you in the whips when I get to that. So yes, that is the lace. Let's see if I can show you properly. Yeah, I'm really actually enjoying this project. I've been wanting to do this for years, and I started and I actually frogged the previous yarn that I used, and now I'm using this acrylic yarn. This is made with L crochet number 5. It is in the colorway sand, but as I said, the other 3 pieces is going to be a little bit of a lighter color. But anyway, so that is one finished object. And then the second finished object that I have is this dishcloth. This is the Rustic Dishcloth, which is my design, that I have just made out of L Premier cotton 4-ply. It is unfortunately discontinued yarn, but it is a mercerized cotton, and I made it as per the pattern specifications and with 3.5mm needles. And I actually made this one in the cotton because I'm planning to make a video about my favorite fiber for dishcloths, and I decided I have to make one in cotton as well, because I have a cotton washcloth that I use for washing my face in a 4-ply, which dries quite well. So I thought I'm going to test this one out so that I can add it to my video of the fibers for dishcloths. So yes, I do not know the colorway name of this one. It's got these beautiful pinks and blues and like a little peachy color, and I really like it. It's really pretty, and it's got 2 different types of pink. I don't know if the camera will be able to pick it up, but it is a beautiful cloth and I really, really love it. It has not been blocked even yet, but I'm just going to straight use it and see how it does. And I will keep you posted on that. So that is my second finished object. And then we can move on to works in progress. So my first work in progress is my lace, obviously, that I'm making for the pantry shelves. And as you will be able to tell, the colors are very different of the two yarns, but I don't mind. I think it'll be fine. So if my calculations is correct, then 3 shelves will have this sand color and the other 3 shelves will have this lighter color. So this yarn is a very old cone from my stash. It is Penguin number 5, and it's also 100% acrylic yarn, and I am using a 2.25mm hook for this project. And I have completed quite a few repeats. Let me just get it untangled here. I do this every time. No. Alright, it's untangled. So, this is the lace as you would have already seen. And I'm using some stitch markers as progress keepers here. This one is also from Ietsie Klein. And this one is from Pincushion Crafts. So what I decided to do this month actually is I'm trying to keep track in counting, like you keep track in counting your rounds when you do socks. So I am doing 23 repeats per week, and I've tried to add something at every 20 repeats. But at this point I didn't have a light bulb stitch marker with me, so I just used this one, and I just added it to the point where there was 20 repeats done, and then I could more easily count the amount of repeats that I've already done and must still do. So I'm going to use this stitch marker to keep my progress. I'm just going to put it in here. This one is actually keeping my crochet safe so that I don't unravel it when I take it out of the bag. So this is the first 23 repeats done of the lace for this month. So I will do one in August, one in September, one in October. So I should be finished by the end of October with this lace. But you can expect to see it a few more times because I'm still working on it. Right. My second finished object, my second whip is my Ranunculus. So my Ranunculus I am making out of this South African hand-dyed yarn, Moya 100% double knit cotton, and it is in the colorway Topaz. So this project was actually done, and then I decided to make it a whip again. So my friend Leanie from Independence Crochet and her husband quickly came over for a coffee on Friday afternoon, and this project was actually done, and I put it on and I showed her what it looked like, and it was done. And this morning I decided, no, I am going to add a little bit of length to the bottom, and I undid the bind off and I added to the ribbing at the bottom. Now in the pattern it is suggested to do a 8 centimeter ribbing, I think, and I thought no, it's too much. But after I blocked the I decided that it is too short. So I did actually add more. But this is what it looks like. Let me just see which is the front. That's the front. So this is what it looks like at the moment. And in my previous recording, I was at this point of the top, and I actually added this yarn because I wanted to wash the garment to see how the sleeves fit. So I added this yarn to take out my stitch marker that I use as a progress keeper, because obviously I can't wash it with the stitch marker attached. So I finished the body and I finished the sleeves. I actually did 3 sleeves because I did the sleeves the first time and I didn't like the way it was sitting on my arms. So I undid the sleeve again. You'll see there's another progress keeper that was replaced by yarn. And I re-knit the sleeve. So what I did is I worked all of the ribbing in the 5mm needle. I did go down as suggested in the pattern for the sleeve, the first sleeve, and it was too tight. So I ripped back and I redid the ribbing in the 5mm. And what else did I change? And I don't know if the camera will be able to pick it up, but you can see the garment was blocked until there. And then I added all of this rose to the bottom. I basically doubled it, and then I am busy binding off actually. So I just started to do the bind off, but I couldn't wait any longer. I couldn't finish it actually, and I knew that I would not be able to work away all the ends and so forth for this episode. So I decided to just call it quits and record. So that is all that I still need to do for this ranunculus, is I need to bind off the rest of the stitches and weave in all of my ends and block it, and then I can wear it. So I am so in love with this garment. I'm already thinking about more ranunculuses, and it is so beautiful and sits so well. I really love how this came out. You can see here as well that I am protecting my work with another stitch marker. I added it to the stitch because this keeps falling out, and this is a stitch marker by my friend Jalene, which has the Lekker Podcast on YouTube, and on Instagram she is made by Jalene. I will also link her down below. This was a gift, and it is a very nice way to secure your work if you are afraid of getting your work come undone. So yes, that is my ranunculus. Almost done. I'm sure by the next episode I would be able to wear this. So I'm very happy with how this came out. I did make a lot of notes on my Ravelry project page for this project, which you are welcome to have a look at if you are making a ranunculus too, and battle a little bit with deciding on what size to make. So I'll be adding my bust measurements and my arm measurements to the project page as well as my gauge obviously, and those types of things. So that can help out if you need any help with the ranunculus. So that is my ranunculus. Very happy with that one. Cannot wait to wear it. All right. Good. My third whip is my August socks, which is made from this Esterisa Yarn Creations yarn. It is the Donna base, which is 20% kit mohair, 25% nylon, and 55% superwash wool in the 4-ply sock fingering weight yarn. This is a sock set that was gifted to me, and I'm very, very happy to have started this one. So what I usually do when I start knitting socks, if I use a different method of knitting, say for instance 9-inch versus magic loop that I'm used to, or whatever different method I use, or if I have not worked with a yarn base before, like the composition of yarn, I will always make a gauge swatch and wash it. So I actually did. I made a little gauge swatch with this yarn. This was done with a 2.5mm on magic loop. I only have magic loop needles for 2.5 at this stage, so it was this one, and after I washed it, it was too big. So I then cast on again with my 2.25mm 9-inch circulars and washed the swatch, and this is the correct size. So I actually went down a needle size, but I must also say that I am working on my gauge, my knitting gauge, because I found that I am knitting very tightly because I'm knitting English style and I flick the yarn. So, which means that the yarn is actually already tensioned by my finger, and then I was wrapping it around my finger as well, and that made my tension double tight, I think. So I am now just feeding the yarn through my fingers with just this finger that is flicking, that is now tensioning the yarn, and the tension is much better, and the knitting is much more enjoyable for me, because I was battling a bit that it was hard to move the needles because the stitches were so tight. But anyway, so that is my 2 gauge swatches that I did, and I'm knitting my August socks. This is what the yarns look like. Hope you're going to be able to see. Got them in my bag there. This is the main color, and that is the mini that came with the set. And as I said, I'm knitting it on 2.25mm needles, and I'm doing them magic loop. And this is what I have so far. So I am doing them toe up. I actually acquired a 2.25mm fixed circular. It's 80 centimeters to do my toe, because I only have a 2.3mm set of DPNs, and I don't like the DPNs so much. They are too long for me. I think I must try shorter DPNs. But anyway, so I got a fixed circular 2.25 from Lauren at the little yarn Croft, and I did my toe on magic loop, and then I switched to the 9-inch circulars for the rest of the sock until here. As you can see, I haven't cut my mini off yet. I basically just did 2 rows in the main color after finishing the heel. So yeah, very, very happy with how this is coming out. I love the feeling of this yarn, and what is interesting to me is that it definitely softens up a little bit after washing. But yes, this is a beautiful, beautiful colorway. I'm really, really, really loving this. And as I said, I got this as a gift, so it is an extra special pair of socks. Very, very happy with how this is coming out. As you can see here, I have done a little bit more than half of the sock, I think, because I've already completed the heel flap and gusset and everything. So it's just the leg and the cuff that is left. Very, very happy with how this came out. Let me just add a stitch marker for a progress keeper here. I'm going to add this one made by Ietsie Klein as well, and it was a gift from the little yarn Croft from Lauren. So let me add that to my sock so that we can keep track of my progress on this sock. Right, so that is my sock. I don't think there's anything else that I should have said about the sock. I don't think so. I really don't. Let me see. Okay, so that is my third whip. I have another whip, a fourth one. So my fourth whip is a project out of my whip bin that I am finishing up this month. I have been doing one project out of the whip bin every month, except last month I took a break from it because I had a lot of other things on my plate. And this month I'm continuing with that, and I am making this dog blanket. I got these blocks, knitted blocks, as a gift, and I have 25 blocks, I think. No, 20 blocks. I've got 20 blocks. So I have 20 blocks that I am just joining together. I just crocheted them together with single crochet stitches. So it's not like it's a very neat, tidy, it's just a dog blanket. So I'm just joining the squares together, and I might do a border around the blanket when I am done. But this is what I've done so far. Four of the blocks is not the same size. They are a little bit smaller than these. So I've been wondering if I should maybe crochet a border around them, just like single crochet stitches or something around the block, just to get them the same size as this. But I haven't decided yet, so I must still look into that. But I've joined 5 of the 20 blocks together so far. I've just been using a acrylic cone of yarn and a 3.75mm crochet hook to join these blocks together. And I am planning on finishing this blanket by the end of this month. Right, so that is the blanket. Okay, so then I have planned to cast on a hat for my husband with chunky yarns, but I couldn't do that yet because my 5mm needles are held hostage by the ranunculus. So the moment the ranunculus is finished, I can cast on the hat, because I've only got one set of 5mm tips, and I don't think I will buy more because it will just be chaos if I have too many needles. So there's only 5mm needle I have, and I'm finishing the ranunculus very, very soon, and then I'm going to start the hat. Right. So yes, that is my next project, is the hat. And then I am planning on making another dishcloth, but also in a cotton yarn like this, but slightly smaller than this, slightly bigger than this one, as a face cloth for my husband, because I have been knitting and crocheting him face cloths for years, and his is looking a little bit sad. So I really want to make a new one, and I will just grab some yarn from my stash and make him a face cloth, and I will be adding that to Ravelry as well. So if you have the pattern, you can do that adaptation to make it a bit bigger, and then you will be able to see how much yarn I used, just as a reference for making the cloth a bit bigger. Okay, that is all of the works in progress that I have for today. So let's move on to crafting goals. Right, so for my crafting goals, I was planning on finishing off the lace for August that I'm making for the pantry shelves, and that I did do. I finished 23 repeats for the past week, and then I was planning on finishing half of my first sock in the first week of August, which I also did accomplish. I did that one. And then my dark blanket is right on schedule, with the first 5 blocks being added, crocheted together for this first week of August. So for the next 2 weeks, I will be keeping up with these goals, doing 46 repeats of the lace, 23 for each week, doing the rest of my first sock and the first half of my second sock, and doing another 10 blocks of the dark blanket and crochet them together. Not do them, but just crochet them together so that we can get to crocheting them all together and add a border. But for this past 2 weeks, I will be adding 10 more blocks to that one. And then I will definitely be starting the hat for my husband, so that is going to be interesting, because I did it in a double knit yarn, and I'm now going to use a chunky yarn to do this next one. So I think it's going to be a little bit of maths and ripping back, but I'm always prepared to rip back. I mean, I just undone the bind off of my Ranunculus to add a little bit more. I was just thinking, I'm already working on it, so just make it fit right. Anyway, so that is all of my crafting goals that I have for the next 2 weeks. I don't think there is anything else that I should have mentioned, so let's just move straight onto news. Right, for news this episode, last week I released a new tutorial video on how I make my scrappy chevron blanket. The blanket is not finished yet, so I haven't added a border, a tutorial for the border to the video. That will be coming to the channel very soon. As soon as I am doing the border, I will make a video about it and add it to the channel. At the moment, I am quite busy actually with a bread order and rusk orders that I need to get out the door, and that is keeping me quite busy. Alrighty, I was thinking as well that I definitely want to make another summer top after this Ranunculus, maybe something else. If you have any suggestions, you're more than welcome to leave them in the comments down below. But I'm definitely thinking of knitting myself another summer top. I'm definitely into the knitting, the summer things garments that I want to knit for myself. So I have not yet made up my mind completely. I do have a plan. I will put up a picture of a suggestion that I got from another podcast that I might do, but definitely a little bit longer. I'm not into the crop thing, so we shall see. Maybe I'll start here. I'm not sure. Then I think that is it. It feels to me like I have not been recording for that long, but we shall see. Maybe this is a shorter episode than what my episodes usually is. Okay, so let's move on to my podcast recommendations. I always recommend 2 podcasts in my episode. My first podcast recommendation is Knitting Traditions. Knitting Traditions is a knitting podcast by Inga from Norway, and she is a doctor and she knits a lot of garments. Beautiful garments, I might add. She just in her last episode is wearing a beautiful mint green top that she knitted, and it is beautiful. I will link her down below. And then my second podcast recommendation for this episode is Noble Character Crafts. It is Amy from Nebraska, and she actually used to dye yarn, but she doesn't anymore. She makes beautiful, beautiful items. She recently finished a afghan for her niece and her husband as a wedding gift in the crocodile stitch sunflower square that she crocheted together, and it came out beautiful. It was in episode 141 of her podcast. It's really, really, really pretty. So she is also the host of the year-long make-along Make 9 2022 Mal on Instagram, and you can check that out if you like to participate, or if you like to participate in make-alongs. But I'm sure you've heard of this Make 9 Mal, but she's the host of that. So please feel free to check those two recommendations out, and I will link both of them down below in the description box for you. It feels to me that this episode is very short. I don't know, we shall see when I edit it, but I would like to end the episode with my usual comment question, which is, what is the thinnest weight of yarn that you've ever worked with, and what was your experience? The thinnest yarn weight that I've worked with, held single, was crochet number 8 yarn. Yeah, I used a 2mm hook for the project, I think, or did I now use 2.25? I cannot remember, but anyway, so it was teeny tiny squares. I'll actually put a picture up for you of the garment that I made. I made it for a customer when I actually used to crochet and sell the finished items. She gave me this yarn, and it was crochet number 8. It was cotton yarn. I think, if I remember correctly, it was a L yarn. It was called Azalea, like the flower, number 8. And yes, it was this beautiful, beautiful yarn, but it nearly killed me. It took me a whole year to finish the garment, and it wasn't that big. But the thing was that it was little blocks that I needed to crochet and crochet them together. But because of the design of the block, I needed to cut the yarn 3 times before I made one block. But anyway, I did that. I learned my lesson, and I try not to work with yarn thinner than crochet number 5. But anyway, so I would love to know what your experience was. Did you love it? Did you hate it? And what was the thinnest yarn? And for the fun of it, just tell us what you actually made and if you finished it. That would be fun to know. Anyway, so that is all that I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you would like to see any more of my content. And I will see you in the next one. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.